If you're constantly thinking while grilling, why does it always turn out better for others? Then you're missing exactly what you'll learn in this video. Here, I'll introduce you to Grandpa's 35 weirdly genius hacks that you definitely don't know yet. If you want to get the best out of your grill, subscribe now, and then have fun discovering the most genius BBQ hacks you've never learned. Pat meat dry instead of washing it. Back in Grandpa's garden, it smelled of smoke, embers, and meat, but never of dish soap, because Grandpa never washed his meat. He knew water spreads germs all over the kitchen and turns juicy steak into a sad steamed schnitzel. Instead, he grabbed kitchen paper, patted the good piece dry, laid it gently on the grate, and waited for that glorious sizzle. That's how crust formed. That's how flavor came. And today, do it like Grandpa. Forget the faucet. Think of the roast aromas and grab a piece of paper. Season steaks overnight and chill uncovered. Grandpa seasoned his steak in the evening. Coarse salt, black pepper, maybe a sprig of thyme. Then it went uncovered into the fridge, right on the wire rack. Overnight, the surface dried slightly, while inside the meat absorbed the spices deeply. The next day, it was ready, quiet, confident, like Grandpa himself. On the grill, a crust formed immediately, golden and aromatic, crispy on the outside, tender and juicy inside. That wasn't coincidence. That was experience, patience, and a feel for good food. Soak wooden skewers before grilling. Grandpa bathed his wooden skewers. Before even a piece of meat was skewered, they went into water. A bowl, a stone to weigh them down. Done. The wood soaked up like a sponge, and later withstood the embers without charring or breaking. So the food stayed on the skewer and not in the coals. No flickering, no burnt smell, just roast aroma and control. Whoever grills like Grandpa today soaks the wood, and whoever doesn't risks coal where it doesn't belong. Grill fish on lemon or orange slices. Grandpa never laid fish on the bare grate. He cut lemons into thick slices, placed them on the grill, and set the fillet carefully on top. That way, the skin stayed intact, the flesh juicy. The lemon protected, scented, added flavor. The smoke mixed with the citrus, and what emerged smelled like vacation and tasted like craftsmanship. No oil dripped, nothing burned. The fish cooked gently, evenly, with dignity. It was that simple. And that's how the fish stays where it belongs, on the plate, not in the grate. Marinate meat with beer, yogurt, or buttermilk. Grandpa didn't just pour beer into a glass, but over the meat too. And sometimes buttermilk, sometimes yogurt, sometimes just the pickle brine from the day before. It made the meat tender, deep inside. Not mushy, not bland, but full of tension, full of life. The acid worked quietly, the enzymes loosened what was tough, and while everything marinated, Grandpa sat in his chair, heard the crackle of the embers, and waited. Patience was his spice. Whoever prepares like that doesn't grill, they compose, and every bite tells what really happened in the bowl. Use homemade herb marinades. Grandpa mixed his marinades himself. He chopped rosemary, grated garlic, drizzled oil, stirred in mustard. No recipe, just intuition. The scent alone told if it fit. Then the meat went in, was turned, infused, without haste. The herbs gave their essence. The oil carried the flavor. The acid opened the pores. What emerged was more than seasoning. It was preparation with attitude, handwork instead of ready-made packets. And when the meat later lay on the grill, you smelled it immediately. That's how memory tastes. That's how respect for the product tastes. Rub spices directly onto the meat, not on the grill. Grandpa never sprinkled salt on the grate. He knew that flavor belongs in the meat, not in the embers. He took the spices in his hand, rubbed them in with emphasis, as if waking an old friend. The meat got character before it even saw the fire. When it sizzled, when crust formed, you knew where the scent came from. Not from the smoke, from the preparation. The grate isn't a plate. Whoever seasons, seasons with the hand, not with the shaker, and certainly not over the grill. Set up 2-zone heat, direct/indirect. Grandpa didn't just pack the grill full, he built zones. On one side embers, on the other rest. First, the meat seared sharply, then it could move over, like into a shady courtyard. That's how crust formed without rush, doneness without stress. That wasn't play, that was method. Whoever understands the grill doesn't have to constantly flip or guess. They let it work, just guide. 2 zones, 1 principle. And whoever has done it that way once wonders why they left everything to the heat before. Coffee can as chimney starter. Grandpa didn't need a chimney starter from the hardware store. He took an empty coffee can, cut it open top and bottom, stuffed newspaper in, piled coal on top, and lit it. The draft did the rest. After 20 minutes, the embers were ready, even strong, without stink. The embers lasted because they came slowly. Whoever starts like that grills like a craftsman, not hectically, but with plan. And when it sizzles, you know everything was prepared right. From the first spark. Use egg carton as grill starter. The old egg carton from breakfast was never trash for Grandpa. In the evening, it ended up under the coal pile, filled with small wood pieces lit at 3 corners. And suddenly, there was fire. The carton burned slowly, evenly, as if it knew exactly what to do. Grandpa stood beside it, hands behind his back, waited quietly. The grill wasn't ignited. It was prepared, with thought, with recycling, with sense. Whoever starts like that doesn't just grill. They make fire, like in the old days, with understanding, with history. Pour beer into the drip pan. Under the meat, no water steamed for Grandpa. There was beer, not for drinking, but for cooking. He poured it into the drip pan, let it rise slowly between grate and heat. Malty, spicy, moist. The steam enveloped the meat like a warm cloth, kept it juicy, seasoned it quietly, without imposing. You smelled it before you tasted, a hint of brewery in the air. Whoever grills like that thinks ahead, uses what's already there, and gives the meat exactly what it needs, from below, quite still. Lay cinnamon sticks, rosemary sprigs, or herbs on coals. Grandpa didn't just season the meat, he seasoned the air, laid rosemary on the embers, threw in thyme, sometimes even a cinnamon stick. It crackled, it smelled. The smoke rose, spicy, soft, almost festive. The meat took what it needed. The rest wafted through the garden and made everyone hungry. That wasn't show. That was conviction. Whoever grills like that doesn't think of the recipe. They think of the result and understands. Flavor doesn't start on the plate. It starts in the smoke and in the embers. Hand test for grill temperature. Grandpa didn't need a thermometer. He stretched his hand over the grate about a hand's breadth high and counted quietly to himself. 1, 2, 3. If it burned, it was steak time. At 5 came the chicken. At 7, the vegetables. So simple, so clear. He felt the heat with his skin, not with tech. And that's what made the difference. The grill spoke to him, and he listened. Whoever counts like that learns to know the fire. Not as an opponent, but as a partner. And that's where good grilling begins. With feeling, with respect. Rub potato, onion, or lemon over hot grate. Grandpa had no grill brush. He took half an onion, speared it on a fork, and rubbed it over the hot grate. It sizzled, it scented, it worked. The essential oils dissolved old fat. The heat did the rest. Sometimes it was a potato, sometimes a lemon. Depending on what came, steak, fish, vegetables, everything stuck less, everything tasted better. And the grate was clean before anything lay on it. So simple, so smart. Whoever cleans like that seasons already while preheating. And that's more than a hack. That's attitude. Don't grill meat cold. Grandpa never put cold meat on the grill. It had to arrive first, rest, warm up. Straight from the fridge to the embers? That was a mistake for him. Outside hectic, inside ice. It doesn't fry, it resists. Grandpa gave the meat time, let it breathe. And then the heat could work. Evenly, deeply, honestly. That's how it stayed juicy and became not a piece of meat, but a promise. Stuff steak with butter before grilling. Grandpa cut his steak on the side, as if confiding a secret. Then he pushed in a piece of cold butter. Not much, just enough to keep the meat soft from inside. While grilling, it melted slowly, distributed, filled the steak with juice and warmth. The butter did quietly what spices couldn't. It connected everything. And when you cut it later, flavor flowed from the center. That's how you grilled for people, not for looks. For the moment, not for the picture. Pre-cook chicken in the oven, then grill. Grandpa didn't leave chicken to chance. He put it in the oven first, let it cook slowly there. Inside, it became quietly done. Outside, everything stayed calm. Then came the moment. The embers were waiting. Now it could crisp, sizzle, shine. The skin tightened, the meat stayed tender. That's how poultry became an event, not hectically flipped on the grate, but prepared, with an eye for the whole, and the respect every good piece deserves. Even the one with bones. Grill fish standing up. Grandpa didn't lay the fish down. He stood it upright, clamped between two potato halves, a lemon slice in the belly. The frame was ready, so it stood in the embers, got heat and aroma all around. The skin stayed whole, the flesh juicy. It smelled of smoke, sea, and summer. The fish wasn't cooked, it was staged, quiet, dignified, upright. That's how Grandpa grilled, and that's how he stayed in memory. Press burgers with thumb. Grandpa imprinted every burger with his thumb, once briefly in the center, not much, just a small dent. So the meat knew where to go. Otherwise, everything bulges, gets dry outside and raw inside. With the dent, the patty stayed flat, got roast aromas, fit the bun like poured. It was a hand motion, nothing more, but effective. And when it sizzled, the patty lay calmly on the grate. That's how Grandpa grilled, with feeling, with thumb. Cut sausages in a spiral. Grandpa cut his sausages with care. Spirally, not too deep, but decisively. The skin gave way, not the shape. While grilling, the inside expanded, but instead of bursting, the sausage opened exactly where it should. It roasted, it browned, it scented. More surface, more crust, more flavor, and when you cut it, it was juicy to the last bite. Whoever cuts like that provides a head. For the eye, for the aroma, for that first bite that never lies, just tastes. Pre-cook ribs in foil with apple juice. Grandpa wrapped ribs in foil like a gift. A bit of apple juice in, then he let them rest in the heat. 2 hours, steam, warmth, patience. Inside the meat became soft, outside it stayed quiet, and when he unwrapped them, they shone like freshly painted. Then they went on the grill again, got color, crust, dignity. They didn't fall off the bone, they went, all by themselves. That wasn't a recipe, that was an attitude. Whoever treats ribs like that doesn't grill, they honor the animal, the time, the bite. Spray apple juice on meat while grilling. Grandpa stood at the grill with his old spray bottle. No water in it, just apple juice. Every now and then he lifted it, sprayed gently over the meat. A fine mist settled over it. The sugar caramelized, the crust shone, the scent became sweet, smoky, warm. The meat stayed juicy, got color, character. Grandpa didn't grill loud, he grilled quiet, and let the apple whisper. Grill corn in the husk. Grandpa never grilled corn naked. He left it in its husk, soaked it in water beforehand, then on the embers. The husk steamed, crackled, protected the inside. No drying out, no burning. Just sweet scent and quiet sizzle. After 20 minutes, he pulled the cob from the husk, steaming, soft, golden. The smoke had left traces, but only outside. Inside, the corn was as juicy as if from the field. That's how you grill when you trust the vegetable. When you don't overseason it, but just discover, leaf by leaf, bite by bite. Cook grill vegetables in a fryer basket or foil tray. Grandpa let no vegetable fall through the grate. His old metal tray, soot-blackened from use, held zucchini, peppers, and mushrooms together like a small orchestra. Tossed with oil, seasoned, directly over the embers. The heat came from below, the smoke from everywhere. Nothing charred, nothing disappeared. Vegetables weren't side for him. They belonged, and when it crisped, everyone knew. Even quiet cooking can be a real highlight. Muffin tin as dip holder or spice container on the grill. Grandpa had order. Even at the grill, he placed an old muffin tin beside it, poured dips in, filled paprika, salt, herb butter. Everything had its place. Every grip sat. And when the grill was warm, the butter melted on its own. The smell went over. The rhythm stayed calm. That wasn't a kitchen gadget, that was repurposing with style. Whoever works like that thinks ahead and turns a baking tin into a small buffet. Right in the smoke, next to the embers. Grilled fruits as dessert. When the meat was long off the grate and the embers still glowed, Grandpa put fruits on the grill. Pineapple, banana, sometimes melon too. The sweetness rose, the sugar caramelized, and suddenly the garden smelled like dessert. No pudding or pastry, just heat and fruit. Roast aroma outside, juice inside, warm, soft, scented. You needed no recipe, just a knife, a bit of feeling, and desire for what came after eating. That's how every grill evening ended. Not loud, not greasy, but golden, sticky, simple, and somehow just right. Cook eggs in hollowed-out orange peel. Grandpa took an orange, cut it through, scooped out the flesh, and cracked an egg in. Then he placed the whole thing directly on the hot embers. Without cast iron, without lid, just peel, egg, and embers. The peel protected, the egg set, and a fine citrus scent rose from inside. Black outside, golden yellow inside. Breakfast from the fire, with nothing but a fruit as pan. Whoever smelled that once doesn't forget. It was simple, unexpected, smart, and in the end, an egg that tasted like sun. Form foil into a ball and rub over grate with tongs. Grandpa needed no grill brush. He took a piece of foil, crumpled it up, grabbed it with tongs, and rubbed it over the hot grate. It squeaked, it smoked, and afterward the grill shone like new. Plastic played no role, just metal against metal. The smell of the last steak vanished. The grate was ready for the next course. He carried this method in his head, not in the catalog. And it worked every time. Direct, down to earth, effective. Whoever cleans like that already thinks of the next fire. Use rosemary sprigs as skewers. Grandpa didn't grab wooden skewers. He went to the garden and cut rosemary, thick, strong sprigs. He plucked the needles off below, left them on top. Then he stuck lamb cubes on, vegetables, whatever was there. On the grill, the green sprig became a scent stick. The meat absorbed the aroma, without spice jar, without marinade. Just heat, smoke, and rosemary. It was simple and smart, and when it sizzles, when it scents, when the sprig crackles, then you know what craftsmanship means. Use herb bundle as natural grill brush. Grandpa never took a plastic brush. He cut a bunch of rosemary and tied it with kitchen twine. With that, he brushed the meat. Dipped in butter, infused with thyme, every brush stroke became a scent moment. The smoke mixed with the essential oils, the aroma penetrated deep into the meat. No store tool could do that. The herb brush was simple but effective. It smelled of garden, of fire, of food from the heart. Whoever experienced that knows. Grilling isn't a process. It's a memory. Use 2 skewers for shashlik for better flipping. 2 skewers are better than 1. Grandpa knew that at the open fire. He said, 1 skewer can turn, the second keeps it on track. Meat, peppers, onion. Nothing slipped, nothing burned. With 2 skewers, the whole thing flipped in one motion, like a clock hand over the embers. The heat came evenly. The aroma stayed where it belonged. Whoever grills like that grills with sense, and with the calm that good food deserves. Let grill goods rest 5 to 10 minutes under foil. Grandpa never took the meat straight from the grill to the plate. He let it rest under loosely laid foil, 5, sometimes 10 minutes. Otherwise, all the juice runs out, he said, and set the steak down with the same calm as he once hung his hat on the coat rack. It was a moment of silence, a respect for the food. And indeed, after waiting, it tasted better, juicier, fuller, truer. Whoever serves hastily today has never experienced how calm becomes flavor. Grilling needs patience and a spark of wisdom. Work ice cubes into burger patties. Back when burgers still dripped juicy from the grate, Grandpa knew a trick that's almost forgotten today. He pressed a small ice cube into the center of the patty. While the meat sizzled, the cube melted slowly and kept everything moist inside. No drop of flavor was lost. Instead of a dry-fried lump, every bite was pure juiciness. And for those who wanted to go big, he used broth or herb butter from the freezer. An old trick that rethinks burgers. Simple, effective, and damn good. Grill fish on wood planks. When Grandpa grilled fish, no grate was used. He took a wet cedar plank, laid the salmon on it, and let the wood speak for itself. The board steamed, crackled softly, and wrapped the fish in a warm, smoky aroma. The salmon cooked slowly, stayed juicy, got a golden skin, and smelled of forest, campfire, and Sunday afternoon. The grill became a stage, the wood the quiet lead actor. Bread test for recognizing heat zones. Before the first steak hit Grandpa's grill, he laid out bread slices, simple toast, flat on the grate. Then he closed the lid, counted slowly to 50, opened, and read the bread like a map. Where it was black, the heat lay. Where it stayed pale, the calm zone. The toast test was his compass, his ritual, his quiet moment before the fire. Whoever starts like that doesn't just grill. They direct heat, time, and flavor. And now it's your turn. Get out the grate, grab the hacks, and grill like in the old days, only better. If you like this, leave a subscription, hit the bell, and write your favorite grill hack in the comments. And remember, every grill evening is a small celebration. Make something of it. Until next time, fire away.